In this video, we're going to be installing this Kwikset doorknob handle deadbolt combo. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house, saving a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video, and hammer that like button for me. That's all I ask in return for making this video. So the first thing we're going to do is unbox this bad boy and see what all's inside, and I'll let you know what it's all for. Let's get started. All right, so what we got here is our pack of screws and the latch and everything else. So what we got is an Allen wrench that we're going to be needing later for the handle. And this looks like a latch attachment. So this can be adjustable for a 3/8, or you can slide this little pin down and pull it over, and this will make it longer. So this would be for a 3/4 offset, but 99% of doors you're just going to keep in this position for the 2 3/8. And what we got is the striker plate. So this is going to go on the door jamb. And this is for when you don't have a milled out place for your attachment here. But 99% of the time you will not need this, but I'll show you later what that's for. These are your screws. That's going to be for your handle set. This is going to be for anchoring your deadbolt latch. This is going to be screws. That's going to be for attaching your striker plate and for attaching your latch into the side of the door slab. This is your deadbolt extra security latch. As you can see, it's pretty beefy, and you can put these longer screws that will go through your door jamb and into your actual door rough opening, which makes it extra secure. This is for using the SmartKey technology when you go to key your handle sets. So what we have in here are the keys that you're going to be using for this particular handle set. And this is your deadbolt assembly. And this is what's going to keep it secured in the round part of the door that's cut out for the deadbolt. And the same goes for this. So you're going to keep all this together. So I'll show you how to install that in a bit. And then what we have here is, now this part is going to either be a knob, or in this case it's a handle, but you install it the exact same way. So that's why I put in the description doorknob / handle, because this would be just a round knob that you're used to, but in this case it's an actual handle. And this is pretty straightforward. This is going to be on the outside of the door. This is going to be on the inside of the door. And I'll show you how to install all of that. And this is for the door as well. And as you can see, this is for the deadbolt, and this is the same way. You can adjust it lengthwise by twisting it for a longer offset, and then we're going to keep it here because this is what we're going to use. And be sure to note that this says up because it's going to be installed in the up position. That's why it's labeled that. All right, let's get to installing this. Here's the door behind me we're going to be installing the doorknob on. Now before you get started, you need to get a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. And what I'm going to be using is a number 2 impact driver, which you can use a drill as well with a number 2 bit installed. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and open up this door and install the latches first. Go ahead and open up your door so that way you can get to the holes that's in the side of the slab fairly easy. And what you need to know is that the top hole is for the deadbolt, the bottom hole is for your handle set. So this is going to be the latch for your handle. So the latch is used for the door handle. You're going to see it's kind of angled here on the edge. You want to put the angled part towards where the striker plate's headed. So you want this heading towards the door jamb where it shuts. Slide it into position. Here's the latch for your deadbolt. Be sure the print that says up is facing up. Just like I mentioned earlier, go ahead and slide that into the top hole in the door slab. And as you can see, these were already pre-milled out to where they're flush with the door slab. This pack of screws is exclusively used for everything that's involved in installing this latch part. And then this pack of screws is exclusively for your deadbolt attachments. So go ahead and pop your 2 smaller screws out of this pack, and that's going to be for your deadbolt. So take those 2 smaller screws and install them through the latch and into the slab, and there's already pre-drilled holes that's in the latch. And now out of your other pack of screws, you have 2 similar screws, and then remove those and install them right here where the latch is for the doorknob. So now it's time to install this handle assembly. So the first thing we got to do is remove this cover on the outside of this door handle, because we got to be able to thread our screws through it to attach the handle together. So to do that, all you got to do is pull on this piece of paper that's on the side of the handle, and you can see it loosens it right up. And then that Allen wrench that was sent, you got to loosen up this Allen screw to be able to pop this off. All right, so that slides right off. You can go ahead and remove that cover. So out of that pack of screws, you're going to want these longer threaded ones that have this kind of blunt end to them. So go ahead and take those 2 out. To install this handle, go ahead and slide it right through the door latch and line it up with the shape of the door latch to the shape of the end of the handle. So sometimes it helps take the tension off by pushing in on the latch and sliding it right through that opening. So on this side of the door slab, take the opposing piece and slide it right over it, and then use those 2 screws that I showed you earlier that have the blunt ends, fish them through, and until, sometimes you gotta go back and forth until you find the actual hole. And then once you do, just go ahead and hand tighten those into place. And then we're going to use our drill or impact driver or number 2 Phillips screwdriver and just tighten those up. And now all we do is take our cover, put it back over the screws that we just installed, and reinstall our door handle, and then tighten up that Allen screw that holds it into place. And then always double check, make sure we're on snug and looks like we're working well, and check the lock. Locking mechanism is working. Now it's on to the deadbolt. Now it's time to install the deadbolt. All you need to do is make sure your deadbolt piece is slid into the housing and that we're vertical on the actual keyhole slot. Then slide that right through the hole that's in the latch and hold it into place, and then go on the other side of the door. So now we got to install the actual part we turn to lock the deadbolt, and as you can see on the inside of it, it says up, and then this little metal piece that it comes with has an arrow pointing up. So you want to make sure we align it up correctly, hold this all together, and then line it up with the pin that's coming from the opposing side, and then hold it all together, and then line your screw holes up. So now we can fish the longer screws that's going to attach this side of the deadbolt to the other side. Go ahead and hand tighten them. And now take your screwdriver. Now work your lock to make sure the deadbolt pops out smoothly. Everything looks good. Now it's time to install the striker plates. I always like to do a trial run before I install the strike plate. That way I know how deep I got to set the strike plate for it to latch properly. This one feels about average, and the deadbolt works smoothly when we're latched, so I know to install it right where the hole is in the side of the jamb. Here's the strike plate. You're going to install it so the smooth edge is covering the outside of the jamb. So we're going to go ahead and slide it right into place, and it sets in there very nicely so the door was milled out correctly. So now we just take our longer screws that came in that pack. We're going to drive it right through the strike plate and into the jamb. And now install the bottom one. All right, so here are the screws that came for the deadbolt. And as you can see, they're very long screws, and it came with these 2 smaller screws. So what we're going to do is lay this up to where it sets. So in this case, as you can see, we need to cut out part of the door jamb in order for this to set in there properly. So just lay it right where you need it and then take a pencil and trace around it so we know where we got to chisel out. The best method for milling out the jamb for the plate is just take your utility knife and cut into the pencil mark, and sometimes you might have to gouge it into the pencil mark to get it to the right depth, and then take a chisel and just knock the excess out with a hammer and pry it out to make it nice and clean. Now that we got that all cleaned out, just install your little screws in the little holes. And now install your big screws in the big holes. Be careful your weather stripping doesn't rub against the screws. I try to hold it back so that way it doesn't damage the weather stripping. If you look back in here where the deadbolt is, you can see those long screws go into the actual frame of the door opening. That gives you extra security for that deadbolt. Nice feature that Kwikset added. So you may be wondering, what was that metal cylinder looking thing for? So if you look here, we're recessed into the slab very nicely. So if this wasn't milled out, you can take this plate off and install this metal piece instead. And that way it's going to be sticking out the same distance, yet you won't have this metal plate on your latch. So that's just a nice feature they gave you just in case you need it, but honestly, most of the time you will not need this. And something else I wanted to show you is how to use the keys. Now for the moment of truth to see if we can lock the door, let's make sure the keys work. And turn to the right to lock it, insert it, turn to the left to unlock it, works well. And then to lock the deadbolt, just pull in on the handle, turn to the right, release, and that works as well, very nice. And that door knob installation went very well. And that's what it ended up looking like where the strike plate is and the deadbolt plate is. And if you're wondering how to install this exact door, I made a video on how to do it. I'll put a card up in the top here. You can click this link and it'll take you to the actual video. If your doorknob has the SmartKey feature, you can use this to key all of the doorknobs in your house the same. I don't have any other doorknobs installed right now, or I'd show you that. That's going to be for another video. So be sure to subscribe in case I release that video. You may want to watch it. All right, guys, I got to get back to work. I got to build the rest of this house, so I got a lot to do. All right, see you in the next video. Peace.